What if the worst mistake of your life couldn't be undone? What if you lost everything before you realized its true value? Emily was only 12 years old, but she had already built a reputation at school. Teachers dreaded her name, classmates either feared or admired her, and her parents were exhausted by her behavior. She was rude, stubborn, and careless. She insulted her parents without a second thought, skipped school whenever she felt like it, and surrounded herself with bad friends, older kids who introduced her to trouble. Her parents tried everything to discipline her, grounding her, taking away her phone, even talking to the school counselor. But Emily didn't care. She felt untouchable. She would laugh in their faces, slam doors, and walk away as if their words meant nothing. One night, after an argument over her skipping school, Emily yelled at her mother, "I hate you. I don't want to live here anymore." Her mother's eyes filled with tears, but Emily didn't care. She stormed out of the house and didn't come back until midnight. Her father sat in the living room, waiting. His face was tired, his hands clenched into fists, but he didn't say a word. He just looked at her, his eyes filled with sadness. That silence haunted Emily more than any words ever could. But she didn't stop. She continued skipping school. One day, as she smoked with her friends behind the school, laughing as she exhaled the smoke into the cool afternoon air, her teachers reported her behavior. One day, social services came knocking on their door. "Emily, pack your things," a social worker told her. "What? Why?" she snapped. "We've received complaints. You're being placed in foster care." Emily scoffed. "Fine. I don't care." Her mother stepped forward, her voice breaking. "Emily, please, just listen for once. Don't go." Emily looked away. "You never listened to me. Why should I listen to you now?" But when she looked at her mother, her heart clenched. Her mother's face was pale, her hands shaking. Her father turned his back, unable to watch. Emily wanted to say something, but her pride wouldn't let her. She was taken away that day. She thought she was going on an adventure. She was wrong. Her first foster home was in a different city, far from everything she knew. The family was strict. She was forced to follow rules she never had at home. She had to be in bed by 9, eat whatever was cooked, and do chores. She hated it. She waited for her friends to call, to message her. Days passed. Weeks. No one reached out. One day, she borrowed a phone from another foster kid and dialed her best friend's number. "Hey, it's me, Emily." There was a long pause. Then a cold reply. "Emily, who?" The line went dead. Her heart sank. She realized something painful. Her friends were never real friends. They didn't care about her. They had moved on, continuing their reckless lives without her. Her second foster home was worse. The couple fought all the time. She barely spoke to them, barely ate. She started running away, sleeping on park benches, living off whatever scraps she could find. She missed home. She missed her mother's cooking. She missed her father's quiet but steady presence. She missed their love, the only real love she ever had. But it was too late. One day, desperate and hungry, she did something she never thought she'd do. She shoplifted. It was a small convenience store. She grabbed a sandwich and a bottle of soda, stuffing them into her jacket. As she walked out, the security guard grabbed her arm. "Hey, stop right there." Her heart pounded. She tried to run, but the store owner was faster. The police arrived minutes later. She sat in a station, staring at the floor. Her hands trembled as the officer spoke. "What's your name?" the officer asked firmly. "Emily," she mumbled, barely able to hold back tears. "Emily, do you understand that stealing is a crime? That this isn't just going to disappear?" She nodded, her voice barely a whisper. I was hungry. I didn't know what else to do." "You now have a criminal record, young lady. Do you know what that means? It will follow you forever." The officer took her to social service, but she ran off. Tears burned in her eyes. How had she come to this? Just months ago, she had a home, a family, a warm bed. Now, she had nothing. She wanted to go home. She wanted to beg her parents to take her back. She borrowed a phone, but when she called, no one picked up. She left a message. "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. Please, I want to come home." No one called back. Years passed. She was shuffled from one foster home to another, from one city to the next. She was never happy, never at peace. The regret ate her alive. She tried to fix her life, but her criminal record followed her. Jobs refused her. Schools rejected her. She was stuck in the mess she had created. One day, she saw her parents' picture on social media. They looked older, tired, but they were smiling with her younger brother, one she had never met. They had moved on. Tears rolled down her face. She had lost them. She had lost everything. She whispered to herself, "I should have listened." She remembered her mother's warnings, her father's silence, the warmth of home. "Why was I so stupid? Why didn't I just listen?" she sobbed, rocking back and forth on the park bench. But it was too late. With nowhere else to turn, she found herself on the streets, doing whatever she had to do to survive. She slept with men for money, each time feeling a piece of her soul slip away. Eventually, she became pregnant, alone and scared, with no one to turn to. The life she had once taken for granted was now just a painful memory, forever out of reach. When she gave birth, she called her parents, her hands shaking as she held the phone to her ear. "Mom, it's me," she said softly. A long silence. Then her mother's voice, cautious yet filled with emotion. "Emily? I had a baby," she whispered. "Mom, I don't know what to do." Her mother exhaled sharply. "Oh, Emily." They forgave her immediately. Her parents took the baby into their home, giving Emily the chance to turn her life around. Social services wanted to take the baby away, but her parents intervened and fought for custody. "She's our grandchild. She belongs with family," her father told the caseworker firmly. After a long battle, they won. One afternoon, her father presented a gift box to her. "This is for you, Emily." She unwrapped it and found a key, an apartment key with a note of fresh start. Tears welled up in her eyes. "Why are you doing this for me, after everything I've done?" Her mother reached for her hand. "Because you're our daughter, and we still believe in you." She moved into her new apartment. They enrolled her in college to study social care, hoping she could rebuild her life and help others who had suffered like she did. For the first time in years, Emily felt hope. She had a second chance, and this time she wouldn't waste it.